Hi guys, welcome to my channel, or welcome back if you've been here already. My name is Isabella. I use she and her pronouns and I'm 22. So I've had a birthday since my last podcast and this one has been a long time coming. My lip gloss looks a bit weird on here. Anyway. Before I begin, I would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians on the land in which I gather on today, the Bidjigal people of the Eora Nation. I want to extend that respect to elders past, present and emerging, as well as any First Nation or Indigenous peoples watching, crafting, listening with us today. This land was never ceded, always was and always will be Aboriginal land. Well, today is going to be jam-packed. I know it's been a really long time since my last podcast and I've had a bit of apprehension filming this episode. I have some... Whoa, move that over. Yeah. It's been a really long time since I filmed my last podcast in preparation for the West Knits Mystery Knit Along. And yeah, I've had a lot of apprehension filming this newest episode. I've been really excited to film this new episode, but also, yeah, there's been a couple of barriers and I'll talk about that as we go through. Yeah, October was a really big month for me and I forgot to say the day. Too excited. Today is Thursday, the 24th of November. So for my American viewers and those celebrating, happy Thanksgiving. Yeah, so it's almost taken me this long to kind of really recover from the Mystery Knit Along, which I'll talk about later. And just a couple of things in my personal life have been happening and I felt like I needed a little bit of a break from, you know, being happy and bright and wanting to talk about knitting, and I do still feel all of those things. I just don't think a couple of weeks ago I was in a place where I was able to hold it together for an hour to make a video, make a podcast for you guys. And also the first couple of weeks of November, I didn't have any real whips. But let me tell you, I've got quite a few now, so you don't have to worry. It's going to be a jam-packed podcast. And last podcast, I also asked you guys for some recommendations about new segments on the podcast. This week, I don't know, we're going to be fine for content. I've got actually plenty of acquisitions, but possibly the next podcast, I don't have many more things coming in the mail. So we're going to implement some of those for the next one. For this one, we'll just follow a classic traditional knitting podcast. I'll talk about my finished objects, my whips, my acquisitions, and because I like to buy yarn with a purpose or a project in mind, I'll do a acquisition / plans for those yarns. So let's get into it. My first object, finished object, sorry. Whoa, my chair is squeaking a little bit. And I have a book of notes. So I will, if I'm looking down, that's what I'm referencing. It's been so long that I didn't want to miss anything, which was important, or you guys were looking forward to seeing. So I have, which I talked a lot about on my last podcast, my finished Ingrid Sweater. I'm actually so happy about how this turned out. Yeah, I just love it, and it's kind of peeling a little bit. under here, you can see. I don't really mind. It's not annoying enough for me yet to... I don't have an electric shaver, so... And I feel like with the stitch pattern, a bit uncomfortable doing it with a razor. So, yeah, that's my Ingrid sweater. I'm really, really, really happy with it. I did the proper Italian bind off at the edge. This was interesting to block. Sydney has had some really, really wild weather the last couple of months. We've had, I know some parts of New South Wales, the state in which I live, some places have experienced flooding. We have, fortunately enough, not experienced flooding to the extent of some places. But there's been lots of rain and then really intense heat. We've also had heaps of windy days. So it's just all over the shop, and it was really, really wet weather the first couple of weeks of October when I blocked this. But it was pretty good drying, and I've worn it a bunch since. Yeah, I think it's a really good sweater and really cozy. And I'm just going to recap some of the details in case you're new here. My Ingrid sweater I made in the size XL on 4mm needles, and the Ingrid sweater is written and designed by Petite Knit. I used the yarn Malabrigo worsted in the shade Pearl 10, and I used just under 7 skeins. And this will be a really, really annoying for the rest of my episode, but my scales broke. They won't turn on now, and I haven't had a chance to get a new set of scales. So this is kind of how much I have left of the 7th skein. And what happened was I was waiting. So I had 5 skeins originally, and I knew I wasn't going to have enough. And then I had trouble finding this online and shipping it to Australia. And then I purchased the wrong yarn. I purchased the Malabrigo Rios, which is their plied worsted. This is a single ply, 100% merino. And then, so when that finally came in, I was able to finish the sweater. And a couple of the details that I would have mentioned in the last episode is that I had to do helical knitting on the sleeve, and the second sleeve, well, if I can show you guys, the second sleeve, just along here, and the bottom of this sweater, which I'm actually pleased you can't really see. In person I can tell, but that's because I'm a bit meticulous like that, to make sure that the colors blended, because they were obviously from a different dye lot. And I'm just super pleased at how it turned out, and the fit is really nice. I'll put the photo that I had on Instagram up here so you can see. I finished it on October 12th. Yeah, and other things that I wrote down here was I redid one of the sleeve bind offs once I worked out how to actually do Italian bind off properly. Because what I was doing, I was still doing the sewn bind off, but I wasn't paying attention to the first stitch, and if that was a knit or a purl, to start off doing it differently. But once I got over that, they look great, and I'm really pleased with it. I think it looks really professional, and I wear it all the time. Great for a chilly night, or if I'm getting on the train after work, or yeah, not so much these last couple of weeks. They've been really hot. But yeah, super pleased with this one, and I'm glad to finally have it as a part of my wardrobe. And this is my this is my 4th sweater that I've made this year, and I only really started getting back into knitting in January, so I'm really pleased with myself. And this was a pretty intense pattern, but I really loved it. It was very fun. As I wouldn't say like I'm an experienced knitter, but I've done a lot of different techniques, and I found that the only real tricky thing was doing the German short rows on the double moss stitch. Otherwise, it was really engaging, and I was really motivated to keep going through the pattern to get to the next section. And once you got bored of one section, you were at the next section already. So it was really good. The only real disappointing thing I spoke about a lot in my last video, which I'll only touch on now, is the mock cable section on the sleeves. There was not much direction given to you or a proper chart to do the decreases with the stitch pattern, which made it look less than pleasant. However, I haven't noticed that it's bothered me too much while wearing, and it was just something more that bothered me while I was knitting it, because I had tried so hard to make everything look super perfect. And yeah, so that's where I'm at with that one. Super excited. And this is actually my first 100% merino jumper. So everything else has had like mohair or nylon in it. So excited for that. First finished object done. Beautiful. Let me have a sip of water. I'm definitely not match fit. Okay, second finished object is, excuse me while I reach down and grab it. I just gave you a spoiler. Anyway, we'll leave that in there because it's going to take a while to edit out. My second finished object is, and Steven's already posted his without a spoiler tile, so at this point you've probably already seen it, but if for any reason you have not come across the Twists and Turns mystery knit along, please look away now. I'm going to be talking about it. Awesome. If not, if you're still here, my Twists and Turns mystery shawl knit along by Stephen West. This is her. Oh, this actually might be my new thumbnail. Unlikely. I've got better ones. Yes. This was a monster knit. Monster knit. And so if you're unfamiliar with the mystery knit along by Stephen West, it is a mystery knit along held in October, and a bit of the pattern gets released like every week for 4 weeks. This was my first shawl and first mystery knit along. Yeah. And so it was worked in sections. So this was this chevron bit, not this pink bit. This chevron bit was clue 1. This, let me fold that so that you don't see that. This pink striped section and this cable section was clue 2, and so mirrored on the other side. This pink band was clue 3, and then that's also mirrored on the other side, the pink band. And then this garter and stockinette stitch stripe section, and this twisted rib chevron section was the last clue. let's talk a little bit about the yarns. So I also, again, don't have a scale, but the pattern called for 2 skeins of the main colour, 2 skeins of the contrast colour, and 1 skein of the accent colour. And so I used, this is kind of how much I have left of the accent colour. I don't have anything to reference, but not a lot at all. I could still get probably a pair of socks and something else out of this. This is from 3 Cats Yarn in Soft Peach. I spoke about this in my first vlog, the preparation part for the mystery knit along. And I have all of the yarn detail there, as well as it will be down below. Because this morning when I was preparing for this vlog, could I find the ball bands? No. So this is 3 Cats Yarn in Soft Peach. These are all on this superb sock base, which is like 425 meters-ish per 100 grams, and 75/25 superwash and nylon. This is the main colour in Vintage Tea Set, and I have pretty much a full skein left of this. Yeah, and this is in a Regia self-patterning cotton sock in a watermelon colour, but it is the Yarn Cozy Light in just the plain ribbing pattern by Netty Natty that I knitted up earlier this year. So that's the main colour, and then the contrast colour is Caramel, also by 3 Cats Yarn, also on the superb sock base, and I pretty much have a full skein of this also left, which I'm happy about. I can make a pair of socks. 1 second while I put that. Oh, Olive's coming to say hello. You want to sit on my lap? Okay. She's gonna be a lap dog. Beautiful. So yeah, this I needed a break from looking at, working on. It was, I got lip gloss on, and fibre is probably not a good combination, but anyway. This, I almost had a breakdown blocking this, because I didn't have blocking mats, and what I do use to block wasn't big enough. There was nowhere that I was able to pin into. Anyway, it looks good enough. I am kind of over the whole thing. I haven't looked at it since I finished it and since I blocked it. It's been folded up. What else do I want to say about this? I loved using the accent colour. That made it really enjoyable for me. I feel like I could have picked a different main colour, but then also I kind of really like that it's a little bit low contrast. I really enjoyed cables, so this cable section was really enjoyable. Clue 2 was definitely my favourite. Clue 3, I kind of stuffed up a little bit of the twisted ribbing over here. I was using the written instructions because what I did for the mystery knit along is on the Thursday night when the clue came out, I watched that, and that was the mystery. And then I was pretty much, spoiler, but I mean, go and watch the vlog if you want to. I was pretty much behind the whole mystery knit along due to some personal things. Which was kind of disappointing because I wanted to kind of, I was really excited to make these videos for you guys, and I haven't posted the last 2 clues on my channel. I have the footage for them. I wasn't a very good vlog host. I think possibly I'll go back and do it, but I definitely wanted to put out another podcast before I did 3 vlogs in a row. And also I was just sick of looking at this. It is not my style. I love the colors. They're so cute. Definitely my colors. Yeah, this is going to my grandma for Christmas, so I think she'll really like it. It's just not, it's not for me. I don't see myself wearing it. Since doing this, I've seen how practical shawls are, but I just don't think the design is for me. And if I saw this as a pattern before knitting it, I probably would pass on it. And that's no shade to Stephen, no shade to anybody in the design team, nothing like that, or anybody who loves this. It's just not my style. I love stripes, but this is just not it for me. Yeah. So anyway, back to my mistake on the twisted rib section. I watched the video and then it had been a few days, so I just printed off the clue and I was going about that and it didn't quite look right, which was strange. I went back and then towards the end I was able to fix my mistake where I had been making them over here. It was making a bit more of a moss stitch on the back because I didn't purl one of the stitches, or like a row of the stitches for the twisted rib. Yeah, and then I opted for the early bind off over here and sewed it down. I quite liked the look of that actually. I didn't really understand the like long section. And also I wanted to get this finished, so I finished it, I think it was maybe 2 days after like the week of it being out. Yeah, I think questionable whether I do the mystery shawl knit along again. I think I would have had massive FOMO if I didn't do it. However, yeah, I don't know. It really put a dampener on my knitting mojo. And that was the only thing I was working on in October, and it was a really rough month for me personally. I had a lot going on, like for work and for uni, and then a lot going on personally. And yeah, I think wanting to have it done helped me get through it, because I think if I didn't, I would have frogged it. However, yeah, I don't know, just a bit of mixed feelings about it really. It was fun in the sense that I went to the knit night and everyone cast on together, and like being in a Discord where people are talking about it and they're seeing everyone else's colours. That was really cool too. It was just a lot. It was so much knitting. And yeah. And not that you have to pressure yourself into, I need to get it done before each clue comes out. That was a goal of mine because I wanted to make content for it. If I wasn't making content, yes, I would want to be knitting the next thing as it was coming out. However, I was already watching the clues as the mystery reveal anyway. I wasn't going through only watching the section, and once I knit that, I was able to look at the next bit. I went and I watched those videos and I was working on the previous clue, and I really enjoyed seeing what was next. but also choosing the yarn too. I had a lot of anxiety about that, not knowing what it was going to look like, how it was going to turn out, and maybe that's just not for me, and I'm okay with that. Maybe there is another designer that does a mystery shawl. Maybe I prefer those kind of patterns, and maybe that would be more suited towards me rather than really bold and punchy designs. So anyway, that was my mystery shawl knit along. Please let me know, did you knit the mystery shawl knit along? How are you going with it? Let me know in the comments below, because I had knitting burnout after that one. Yeah. I have a half finished object which will transition us into whips, which we can talk about. I have a sock. This is a shorty sock, a vanilla shorty sock with a fish lips kiss heel. I am using an undyed 75/25 sock yarn for the cuff. I did a tubular, I don't know, poke that in. I haven't woven in my ends. I did, is that gonna focus? Maybe. I did a tubular cast on and a double knit. I actually don't know how many rounds I did, so that's kind of annoying. Double knit 1x1 rib cuff. I did 5 rows, and then I did the fish lips kiss heel, and then I did 60 rows, and then I did one of those toes where you do decreases on either side every other round until I got to 16 stitches, and then every round until I had 8. So I feel like that's, I don't know, a rounded toe. Yeah, I kitchened it in the dark last night, and I probably shouldn't have, because it wasn't that tight, and now there is kind of like a hole in this section here, even though all the stitches, I don't know if you can see that. Even though all the stitches have been captured in the Kitchener. These are for my mum. Oh, I'm beautiful. These are for my mum. The yarn is Sweet Pea by Three Cats Yarn. My mum chose it, and I knit another pair of socks with these earlier in the year for her. I knit the colour palette socks, and yeah, so it's really beautiful, variegated, feels very fairy garden. And what are my other notes? Nothing. I used 2.25mm needles, and I used my Chalgu Shorties set, and I normally do socks on magic loop. However, I used the 9-inch circulars for this one, and I just got this new bag from Officeworks. It's super cute, little clear vinyl. It's a pencil case, but I feel like it matches the yarn without glaring. The yarn really nicely, and good for taking to the beach and on the go, so nothing like kind of spills on it. And yeah, I just found having it in my bag on a 9-inch circular and not magic loop was really good for me to get like a little bit done, like every single day. Yeah. So that is my sock. I haven't yet cast on the second sock because I have to watch Andrea Mary's video on how to do a tubular cast on, which I will link down below. It was super helpful, I found that knowing which stitch was making a purl and which one was making a knit way easier in terms of remembering where I was at. However, not knowing, she's gonna jump down now. Started choking. Yeah, not knowing how many rows were on the cuff really created a blocker for me, because I didn't want to stuff it up or make a mistake, but it's gonna be fine, and I'm going away for the weekend, so it'd be really nice to get that casted on and possibly through the heel, so I'm able to work on that. But yeah, that is my burst whip. Is it the first thing I casted on? No, this is technically my second whip, but my first half finished object slash whip for this video. My next finished object is the Semper Sweater by Sophie from the Knit Pearl Girl. And let me move all of this stuff on my swatch. The Semper Sweater by Sophie from the Knit Pearl Girl. I made a swatch for this. Good girl doing a swatch. Lucky I did, because the pattern calls for 4.5mm needles and I just didn't get gauge with that. Got gauge with the 4mm, so that's what I used, or am using. I have written down that I'm making size F, but I don't think that's right. I'll have to go back and check, because I like to highlight on my patterns. What else? It is a top-down raglan in the round with a double folded neckband, and I'm using the yarn in the shade Mushroom Pink, and it's on a cone. It is Wagtail yarn. Focus. Wagtail yarn. 80% fine mohair, 20% merino, and I have a 400-gram cone, or at least that's what I believe. My scale's broken. So I am past, it is a pretty deep yoke on me. I don't really know how that's gonna go. So when I do sweaters in the round, I like to knit on a shorter cord. So for today, for you guys, I put a second cord. So I've got like all of this extra so that I can try it on for you. Let's do that. It's messed up my hair a little bit, but that's fine. So yeah, this is, we're doing a weird hover, like the hover hand. So this is the Semper Sweater. My armpit is like up here, where probably the first, halfway through. So this is the first set of increases, raglans, and then this section here is just the body side, not the armhole side. And yeah, I've got like pretty much this much extra fabric between my armpit. So when I lift up, it's kind of pulling. This is where I was the other day, and I knit during watching my TV shows and got quite a lot done. But I haven't been knitting on it because I didn't know how, mohair on my face and my lip gloss, everywhere. I didn't know how long I wanted to make this, which actually looks really cute on, by the way. Yeah, so I haven't been knitting on it because I haven't been bothered to put it on a longer cord to try it on, and also and yeah, I don't like putting things on waist yarn if I can put it on like a spare cord. So the armholes are on 20cm Chagu cords with the end stoppers, so both of them I have 2. I bought 2 for this purpose, is to put it on sleeves, which means that I can only split for sleeves and do this on one garment at a time. Yeah, so we're gonna have to get through this, but I'm really enjoying it. The yarn is really soft. It doesn't feel, maybe it does feel a bit itchy, but the swatch doesn't feel itchy, so I feel like once I block this it'll soften. But yeah, I'm really liking it. The color's quite nice. And what else do I have to say about it? Yeah, mushroom. Oh, that was a weird claw. Mushroom pink. And I bought this yarn at the Bendigo Sheep and Wool Festival that I went to earlier this year. And yeah, the pattern is very comprehensive. I'm excited for the v-neck version that's coming out, as well as possibly the v-neck vest and the regular vest. I really like the double toned neckband. I'm not too sure whether you can see this, but the pearl bump that you do to fold them over is really visible on the top. I'm gonna see with blocking if I can kind of, yeah, fold it over so that you can't see it as much. But yeah, that's this. Tried it on finally, and I'm really excited for the finished garment. Although we're going into summer here in Australia, I want to keep knitting garments for my wardrobe and all of the things, keep it interesting. Ooh. But yeah, I think it should be good. I just stepped on the yarn. Oh no, see, look what I did. Silly. Fix that later. Oh my god, my hair, the static. Okay. Whip number 2. And for whip number 3, I have my birthday cast on. So, what I bought, which was an acquisition, I don't know, last episode or the episode before, it was the Circus Tonic Birthstone Collection mini set in the shade November Citrine, and I'll insert a photo. But I've, instead of, excuse me, note to self, no lip gloss for podcasts with mohair. I've wound them into balls instead of tiny cakes, because I find that this is easier unless I had 6 mini Yarn Cozy lights, but I don't. I've only got 1, so these are the colours, and I'm using them to make, with an undyed yarn, to make the Friday Tea by Petite Knit. So this is where I'm at with this one, and I shared it on Instagram as well, and I'm up to, this is the pink, and so this is the first colour I did. This is the short rose that I did. It's the first full round, so I'm back on the first repeat technically, but not for the front yet. So I've got a couple of rows to go before I split for the sleeves, but this one I'm knitting a size large, and I'll have all my measurements and everything down below so you can reference them instead of me including them in every video. And if you choose not to look at them and that is not something that serves you, perfectly fine. But if that helps you understand how the garments fit on my body and why I chose a certain size, and that helps you make sense of that and whether or not you want to knit it or what size you should knit, feel free to have a browse. This is a safe space. So yeah, I'm really excited for this one. They're both sock yarns, so 75 superwash, 25% nylon, fingering weight yarns. I'm knitting the size large, so it's a little bit under recommended positive ease. However, that's okay with me. It's only really around the bust where there would be less ease than recommended. Everywhere else should be fine. It is a top-down raglan with these large, no, you can't really see that. Yeah, here. These large raglan stitch sections, and it's on a 3mm needle in broken rib. So one round is knit and the other round is knit purl, knit purl, knit purl. So one round is definitely quicker than the other. However, it kind of evens out by the time you get through it. What else? Yeah, it was my birthday cast on, and so it was my birthday last week. And so I did the double folded neckband and all of this colouring and all of the winding of the mini skeins. My progress for 1 week, and the stripes should be a really good indicator of how much progress I make in the future, as well as a really good motivator to get to the next stripe and then finish the next stripe and then get to the next one amongst all of the broken rib. And yeah, I really need to knit some more of these, but this is another yarn cozy light that I'm holding the undyed yarn in, and I purchased this. I found it really difficult to find undyed sock yarn that wasn't like the same price as what you would buy a hand dyed for from hand dyed retailers, and I get that is their business, they're trying to make money, that's great. That just wasn't an affordable price point for me. I found these undyed skeins from Melbourne City Dye Works, and they were like $12.50 for a 100-gram skein, which I thought was a pretty good price and quite on par to if you had bought in bulk from a stockist, because I could only find stockist websites or dyers that had these listed, but they were listed for pretty much double the price that I got them for. So yeah, I bought 4 of these. I won't need 4, I think I'll only need 2, but that's okay. I want to knit some plain white socks, so have these spare. And that concludes my whips for that concludes my whips for this video, acquisitions and plans. And so I said in the beginning of this video that I like to buy yarn, or if I'm going to purchase yarn that I hadn't had my eye on for ages and got like a bit of an impulse purchase, the only way I can justify buying it is having a project in mind. So aside from this first one, I have a project in mind for, but I bought it and now I have a project in mind for it. So bear with me. I have a big box, and I'm not going to show you my address because I didn't cover it up beforehand. However, this is my 3 Cats Yarn Advent, and I'm super excited for this one. I've had a little peek at some of the goodies inside, but I haven't opened any yarns yet. So I've been good. Been a good girl. So this advent is like a cottagecore garden theme, which I'm very excited about. I'm hoping lots of greens, some yellow, those kind of colors. And so I bought this earlier in the year on pre-order, and it shipped to me, I think, the first week of November, which was pretty good. Mel went on vacation. She went to the US, so all of these were out before she went away, which was lovely. And I'm super excited. There's only a couple of days before I get to open them every day. I'm undecided yet whether I'm going to do like traditional advent knitting where I open one and then I use that skein, mini skein, and not like open them all, or like wait to open them all and then rearrange the colors. I'm not sure yet. But if I haven't mentioned it, this is a 24 20-gram mini skein set with one 100-gram main color. So 25 packages in total. So inside this box is a QR code that brings you to this beautiful, and it says, "Thank you for purchasing my advent calendar for 2022. I'm so excited to share it with you. The theme for this year's calendar is cottagecore, and skeins will come in a range of green and floral-inspired hues. This calendar is not a fade, but colours are designed to work in harmony with one another. Like I said before, the skeins are 24 20-gram minis plus 100-gram skein. I chose the Semper sock, which is 75% superwash, 25% nylon. Here we have the reference image, so it gives you a bit of a vibe, and the colours will be posted on this page once they get released. What I'm thinking of making is it just came out, the anthology Throw by Helen Stewart. This comes in the Knit Vent 2022 ebook that she's released, and it was released in October as a mystery advent pattern book. So each Thursday, so one will be released today, which I haven't looked at yet. I haven't bought the ebook either. I've just been seeing them be released on Ravelry. A pattern gets released each week leading up to Advent starting on the 1st of December. And I think I might knit that. However, the pattern only calls for 24 20-gram minis, so I would still have one 100-gram skein, and so I don't want to split them up. I want to keep them as a family. So to be determined on that, but that's my advent. That's my first acquisition. My second acquisition was Circus Tonic Handmade had an opal collection that was released, and this is conservative. I wanted to get 5 skeins, but I only picked up 2. You saw them in the sneak peek before, my unintentional sneak peek. This one, I don't know how to pronounce. Penrimable? I have no idea. Anyway, it is this gorgeous like pink, yellow, silver, white variegated yarn, super excited for that. This is on the Jubilee sock, so it is 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon, and 425 meters in 100 grams. And then Resplendent, this one, also beautiful highlighter pink tonal with some yellow flecks in there. Absolutely gorgeous. And so with these two, and I think, oh, I want to find a color that's similar to this. So this is the Collar Girl Collective, and I also don't know how to pronounce this one either. Sephiroth, maybe. Oh, put that back up there. I want to get something that's like similar to this grey color to make the Rumble Raglan by Lydia Morrow, or at What Lydia Made. Yeah, at What Lydia Made on Instagram. Really nice size inclusive designer. And the Rumble Raglan is pretty similar to one of the patterns that's in Pom Pom, the winter edition of Pom Pom. It's like got like little columns of color work, and so I think this would be really nice as a t-shirt. And I want to do the 3 color option. That's why I'm waiting to find something that kind of stands out in a silver color. But these are my 2 acquisitions from Circus Tonic. Super excited for these. And then I also got in the mail just recently, and one of these looks mangled because I undid it to have a look at how pretty it was. I got a package from Collar Girl Collective, a beautiful Adelaide dyer. This is the Butte Fingering 4-ply, so it's a single ply, 100% superwash merino, 400 grams per 100 meters, in the shade Love Note. And this is just gorgeous. Gorgeous. Lovely rosy pink, light pink, a little bit of navy speckling, just gorgeous. And then, sorry, it looks so bad. I have the mohair, 1 ply of the Myrtle Lace mohair, which is 70% kid mohair and 30% silk, and approximately 420 meters per 100 grams. 50 grams, sorry. This is a 50 gram skein. And this is also in the shade Love Note. Definitely more saturated than the fingering, but yeah, it's just beautiful. There's that peachy, like deep pink. Oh yeah, I'm super excited for this one. And for this yarn, I am definitely getting Thneed vibes. So have you seen the Lorax? They've got the Thneeds from the trees, and I want to make a shawl. Here's the shawl kick. Definitely saw how practical they were with the mystery knit along, and I was like, damn, I wish I had a shawl for this outfit. So what I've decided to do, I've had my eye on this yarn for a while, and I wanted to make I knew I wanted to make a shawl, but I didn't know what pattern I wanted to make. I've got that yarn up there to make the Birds of a Feather shawl by Andrew Mowry for my mum, but I wanted to make something different, and I put a bundle together on Ravelry of fingering and mohair shawls. And so what I'm gonna make is the Learning to Cry shawl by Helen Stewart, so the designer I just talked about. And yeah, I think this one will be really pretty, both being in the same colorway as well. Be really nice to wear with a fancy dress, or yeah, just a nice summer evening in the autumn. I think is very romantic. and I think it'll be a really nice present to myself. So, and it's super soft, so both of these are very, very squishy, and I think they'll look beautiful. So I bought those, and that's what I plan to make with those. In terms of other plans, I plan to use my MKAL leftovers, so these guys here, this way, these guys here, to make socks from the 52 weeks of socks. I've got some pages tabbed, because the two that are non-variegated, so caramel and soft peach, I plan to make like a lacy design, something that will really showcase, that will be good with a solid / tonal yarn. And then I'll probably make a pair of vanilla socks with a contrast heel toe cuff, or toe and heel, or toe and cuff. With that, just a vanilla pair of socks. And yeah. Other news, other things that I'm planning on doing, starts tomorrow, the 25th of November. Natalie from Knitty Natty is hosting a Sockmas Cal, and so I plan to use some of my stash, because it's getting a bit overwhelming for me, to make a pair of socks for my brother for Christmas. And he doesn't watch these videos, so it's fine, I can talk about it. And his birthday was yesterday, so we're really close birthdays. And I didn't have time to knit him a pair of socks before his birthday, because I know that he wants a super long leg and a reinforced heel flap and gusset, and I hate knitting them. I hate picking up stitches. I know that they're so durable, and my actual favorite pair of socks has a heel flap and gusset, and he's got a really skinny ankle, so I think those will be really good for him as opposed to the fish lips kiss heel. So what I'm gonna do after this video actually is wind up this skein. Oh, that looks super dark. This skein of black wattle yarn and fibre. I got this at Bendigo. No, not Bendigo. I went to this wool event market in Canberra earlier this year, and this is where I picked up this. And there is a fly in my room because I don't have a fly screen on my window, and it is buzzing, really annoying me. Anyway, this is the Mali fingering weight sock yarn. It is 100 grams, 75 superwash, 25% nylon, in the shade Limerick. And it is this black and purple. Would you say tonal or variegated for this? Don't know. One of the two. But I'm gonna knit, I think my plan is I'm gonna do vanilla socks, probably. So my first ever pair of socks was Crazy Sock Lady's vanilla sock pattern, and I did it 9-inch circulars. This I might do also 9-inch, just because there's going to be so much knitting. I'm thinking 2x2 ribbed cuff for 20 rounds, an 80 round leg, 60 stitches, I think. He's got quite a skinny foot, very narrow, and I don't know how long I'm gonna knit it, but I'm gonna do slip stitch, heel flap and gusset, and then I'm gonna do the toe that's in her pattern. Yeah, excited to do that. I'm hoping to knit 2 pairs of socks probably for this cowl, and use up some of my scraps or my other fingering weight yarn. Yeah, I've got some up there I might use. That's also a black wattle fibres yarn that I used for my Porkley sweater, one of the colours for that. So I might use that, I might use some scraps, and I've got a self-striping as well. Yeah, so I think that's kind of all for the knitting plans. Please let me know if you're planning on doing the MKAL as well. I'd love to know if you're going to participate and who you're knitting socks for. If you're knitting socks for yourself, great, love it. I definitely prefer knitting things for myself than for other people. I find it more enjoyable because I'm more excited for the end product. So let me know, are you a gift knitter or are you a selfish knitter? And yeah, if you want to keep up to date on, I'm trying to be better at Instagram, so if you want to have more regular updates about what I'm doing, how my projects are going, please go and check me out. My knitting one is at flirty fibre on Instagram. And yeah, I'd love to know what your plans are for knitting, whatever season you're in. So people in the Southern Hemisphere, what are your summer knitting plans? I'd love to know. And if you're in the Northern Hemisphere, what sweaters are piquing your interest? I know I've got a few hot new releases. Actually, let's just quickly go through hot new releases. The Dad Sweater by Emily Curtis, or at MWeCurt on Instagram. She also has the Gently Chaotic Knits podcast here on YouTube. Dad Sweater, keen to knit that. So yeah, I'm gonna end this podcast here for the second time. Yeah, so thank you so much for watching, and if this was your first podcast with me as your host, I hope you enjoyed, and I hope it wasn't too rambly, and I hope that you guys subscribe. If you haven't already, please subscribe, and please give this a like. It really helps get my videos out to more people and gives me the feedback that you guys love this sort of video. And happy knitting. I hope that you have a beautiful day, and for those celebrating, again, happy Thanksgiving, and that you guys all stay safe and stay well, and you know, work on projects that make you happy, and don't be too hard on yourself if things aren't going the way that you would like them to go. Take a break from projects that are frustrating you, and yeah, enjoy your craft. It's fun. It is something that is meant to be enjoyable and a hobby. So while I leave you with that, I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day, and thank you so much for sitting down and chatting with me all about my knitting. See you guys.